2, 1. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Drew Hernandez Live. My name is Drew Hernandez, hopefully one of your favorite podcast hosts. Here on Rumble, we are no longer on YouTube. YouTube obviously is a commie platform. They just deboost, shadow ban, deplatform anybody that has a voice and that talks about real world stuff, especially when it comes to what's taking place with the deep state, with the shadow governments and the New World Order and all of their plans and agendas. Anytime anyone comes anywhere near talking about that kind of stuff, they immediately pull the plug because you're not allowed to talk about them in bad light. But if you talk about them like you're a part of them, then they give you an obvious pass. So if you're tuning in tonight, we have a very special guest. Make sure to sub to the channel, smash that like button, destroy that like button, share the links absolutely everywhere. It helps us so much, guys. We truly appreciate it. And copy the links and spread them absolutely everywhere you possibly can. I just want to get straight into this. I've been promising you guys this interview for the past maybe 2 weeks, and we were finally able to make it happen and lock the legend himself in here on the Drew Hernandez live show. This is legendary. Mr. Alex Jones himself is here with us.
You're legendary, my friend. Wow. Are we not vindicated? Are all the great viewers and listeners of your show and all the other great patriots out there across the U.S. and the world vindicated? It's now come out, the CDC, the FDA, that they were lied to by Big Pharma, and the shots are linked to heart attacks, strokes, blood clots, myocarditis, infertility, epilepsy, neurological disorders. I mean, this is just incredible. Global insurance company numbers show that countries where these poison shots were given out, the mRNA Franken shots, a 13% increase in year after year death rates. That's more than double the increase in the death rate during World War II. This is the highest increase in a death rate ever recorded since statistics have been taken up for this in the last 120 years or so. Total vindication. But then it's also horrifying to know that they had secretly done mouse studies with mRNA, COVID, corona viruses at the University of Texas under a national initiative of Joe Biden's boss, Barack Obama, through Fauci. Fauci's name was on the document. And in the big study, they recommended to Fauci to never do these trials on humans with this mRNA for a cold virus because the mice lived half as long and many of them died of heart attacks, myocarditis, blood clots, their lungs being destroyed, and it really hurt their fertility as well. Funny, Obama funded a national initiative to study all this in 2013, 14, 15. The initiative said you can't ever use this on humans, so they repackaged it and rolled it out against humans, and now it's all coming out.
It literally is, Alex. I don't know if you've seen this, but I found this morning, and I wanted to get your reaction to it. Here's this clip. This was, I think, last week. This is the World Economic Forum head of sustainability risk, Zurich Insurance Group, John Scott, says organizations with pre-approved information put in place to direct the World Health Organization and CDC. Here's a quote: "We eventually got vaccine development in place after political resistance." And he says Big Pharma vetted COVID-19 medical solutions for the so-called pandemic. Take a look at this, Alex.
We've warned many times about health issues in the Global Risk Report over the last 15 years, from Ebola to, well, before Ebola, SARS and MERS, Ebola in 14, 15. And as Adrian was saying, that had an impact because there were organizations like the Global Vaccine Alliance and the Center for Epidemic Preparedness put in place to help organizations like the World Health Organization and the Centers for Disease Control in individual countries to actually deliver the right information as to how to address infectious diseases. And I think that did work during the pandemic. It was in a lot of countries, there were some political challenges in the sense that not everybody wanted to listen to that very good advice from those organizations. But eventually, yes, we did get the vaccine development in place. We did see incredible collaboration in the pharmaceutical industry in particular to look through their long lists of drugs to see whether any of them would have some effect on reducing the symptoms of COVID-19. So I think that all of that is still in place. Pandemics don't just come and go. They come and go and they come back again. And so we should be prepared for that.
There it is, Alex, out in the open. This was from the World Economic Forum press conference for Global Risks Report 2023 last week. Your reaction?
I hadn't seen that clip, but I saw another one similar at the World Economic Forum as they were kicking it off, openly bragging that they basically used COVID-19 and had a pre-existing plan to get rid of the regular approval process and roll out mRNA direct to humans, bypassing animal testing. And then, of course, Obama, or his third administration, Biden, got it passed in December of last year, just a month ago, in a major bill, that they're no longer going to do animal testing. They're going to go direct to market and just do it to the general public. We have the Israeli leader, Netanyahu, about a month ago on Jordan Peterson saying he made the entire Israeli population guinea pigs and made the whole country a laboratory so they could see what hurts people and what helps people. Now they're going to test all these new technologies on the Israeli population. I mean, this is Joseph Mengele on steroids, and they're doing it like it's no big deal. But there he is in the video saying, we work through the UN and through the national governments to put out our information and basically suppress our opposition. And remember the clip that came out 2 months ago, the head of the UN Information Office bragging how not just on the pandemic or not just on the viruses or not just on the lockdowns, but on all these other subjects, the UN is in control of big tech and what is seen in the Google searches and the rest of it. So they're out in the open admitting what's really now giving us the inside view with the Twitter files. So we have them on the outside admitting it, then we have the inside guts of them actually doing it. This is beyond anything we would even imagine in Nazi Germany, and it's all happening right now.
You know, Alex, I really, every show I do, just really hitting on, you know, what these people are doing, following what, you know, they're saying, following their words, following their actions. And I always make it very clear, like when it comes to this mRNA experimentation, okay, like these people are experimenting on humans intentionally. They know they know what the impact is going to be. They know people are going to die. They know it's not ready. They're fully aware of that. On one side, this is big pharma wanting to make billions of dollars, possibly trillions of dollars. We'll probably never know how much money these people are really making, okay, at the expense of people dying just to experiment on them. While it's a cash grab at the same time. This is all depopulation, correct? Alex, explain that.
Absolutely. The globalists explain their philosophy in memorandums like State Department Memorandum 200 back in the 70s and many other documents that came out subsequently, that while they test toxic drugs on the public, they then take the good results and give it to themselves while suppressing it. And they also are setting the precedent to be able to depopulate us and have a medical corps that'll follow any draconian authoritarian edict that they're given until it's complete totalitarianism. And so they're depopulating us while they're getting filthy rich, while they're playing God, and while they're actually using us as lab rats to get really good treatments and cures for themselves. So they're parasites to the next level off of humanity.
Explain to us, Alex, how all of these things are interconnected, right? From the top down, from like a globalist view, the abortion, depopulation, the Green New Deal, the climate change stuff, which I want to get into that with you as well. Bill Gates talks about this openly, you know, like they're triggering famines. They talk about pre-planned famines that are just going to so-called happen with the jabs that are deadly poison, all of the above that are taking place. Explain how that is all tied in and why. Why do these people want to depopulate the earth and play God?
Well, their argument is if they don't play God, somebody else will. And so just like you have a nuclear arms race, or there's been gold rushes, or there's been the big railroad rushes, or there's been other big stampedes, there's a scientific race being funded by the most powerful corporations and families and dynasties on earth to find life-essential technology and the genetic holy grail. So that's their main goal, to become immortal, to play God, to be given the knowledge of good and evil, to know that you're a God, to know that you can live forever. The same message of the serpent in the garden. So that's really the brass ring that they're going for. Then they love evil, they love corruption, they love domination, they love power. So they also get to dehumanize and dumb us down and poison us and enslave us to give themselves that air of superiority and power. They enjoy the neo-feudalistic system of keeping us at a cultural and spiritual starvation level, and then bloated and fat on their toxic poison food that they shovel at us. And so really, if you study history and all the horrible, evil things that different corrupt dynasties did at the end of a corruption cycle, they understand that the end of their power is coming. So they're trying to create what they call the end of history, where they institute a collapse that they control, and then they come out on top of it and then control all future cycles. So what they want is what they call an end of history. They want to end all the cycles. They don't want the fourth turning. They don't want all this advanced technology that can also be used for good to empower us and to create new elites and new structures. And they believe humans are getting so powerful and so advanced with our technology, but also for the minority that are becoming more spiritually connected to God, that they're in a race to suppress God's plan for us, and they're in a race to suppress free will. So they're against free will, they're against the individual, they're against the family, they're against God's order, they're against prosperity, and they're against God, and they want to be God.
Absolutely. You know, Alex, I always, especially like a lot of younger people are like, you know, we don't believe in God. We don't care to even hear about God. I mean, it's obviously openly, intentionally to separate humans from their creator. At the end of the day, if you just don't have God as your father, you're going to have your father, the devil. It's pretty abundantly clear. That's the agenda in the Bible. So when I watch this stuff, I just see all of it kind of like interconnecting with humans, you know, interfacing with demons and spirits and taking, you know, information
just like
from
the Bible
them.
says over and over again, it's the mystery of evil. Once you get educated and informed and really have been living a while, you go, oh my gosh. Dr. Michael Yeadons, the former chief scientist at Pfizer, was basically agnostic, said, I can't prove God, but he says, no, I believe in God now. This is pure evil. There is a evil intelligence beyond humans directing this. The guy's like 170 IQ, okay? Mm-hmm. And he finally, just like Einstein finally went, I was an atheist. I believe in God now. Since I've done all these equations, that there is a hand controlling this. So here's a simple way for young people or folks that have been blocked off from God, or maybe your parents took you to a corrupt church or a bad corrupt system, and you were turned off by it. I totally get it. I'm not up here saying I'm holier than thou and I'm a Pharisee and you're evil. You better get before me the priest and say I'm all powerful and you get to God through me. It's the opposite. You get to God through a personal relationship. But imagine, are you going to make Hollywood and the globalists and their big government buildings and all their attempts at power and all that, is that going to be your idol or what you aspire to be and what you're going to have on top of you? Or are you going to say I have a relationship to God and just look, God made the universe, God gave us all this life, God created all this beauty around us. I mean, what made that? It didn't just come into being. And you can say, I either resonate with that, I either interface with that, and through the creation, you can then see that God's there. I'm not saying worship the creation. I'm saying for those that can't even understand God, the first way is to look around you and say, are you going to worship the New World Order? Are you going to make it God? Because it says it's a God. It says it's Yuval Harari, all of them. We are going to be gods. You're going to be nothing. So they're already saying they're gods and you're nothing. So they already say they're God. They don't want you to believe in God because they want you to be rudderless. The devil's greatest trick was make people think he didn't exist. And so I know I'm ranting here, but this is 100% a spiritual battle. And what does spiritual really mean, folks? Our eyes only see a tiny spectrum of the light spectrum that is only one form of thousands of different types of documented energy that are out there. And they now know that they're what they call dark matter, because they have all these spectrometers and radio telescopes, is 5 times on average stronger than the heart of a sun. Not just the empty space out in space or the planets or the center of the earth. Just the dark matter, the so-called nothingness in space, has an energy field 5 times stronger, holding it in place. This was made. This was built. Okay, so what God is what made that and made us and has a plan for us and stamped on us that we know what's right and have a conscience and that we love our children and we love our grandparents and we love a beautiful sunset. God made that. God loves that. God made it and saw it was good. We're made by God. We see it's good, and that is a form of worship in that we recognize God made this and we worship God for making it. And all the parts in ourselves. Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, one of the smartest guys out there, said, the brain of an ant is 1 billion times more powerful right now than the most powerful supercomputer. A supercomputer can track numbers and things, but it only has power because we follow its directives. kind of like a red light or a yellow light or a green light. That's dumb technology, but in a big city of 10 million people, you're following its orders, so it has incredible power. And that's the same thing with AI. It's a fraud. It's a lie. These people aren't going to be God. And again, at the end of the day, they say they can't lift us up. They've got to kill 90% of us. And out of this big process comes the Ubermenschen. That's not how God operates. And so these people are doomed, and anybody following them and working with them is doomed. Look how out of the gates, they didn't bring us an mRNA that would cure things and do things, which they, by the way, do have, but still a small percentage die of liver failure usually, or other things. They've done a bunch of studies, a bunch of tests. They've been trying for 20 years with mRNA. That's why, the founder of it, the creator of it, says he's basically sorry because it works for most, but always kills a certain percent. But they didn't roll out one of their good systems that still kills some people. They rolled out one that creates spike protein to generationally attack your DNA and generationally mutate your children and literally not just murder you, but murder your genetic code. That's their attempt. So out of the gate, the so-called gift they gave us was death, so they could then corrupt the scientists and the doctors and the medical workers and the politicians and the lawyers and the bureaucrats and the media people that went on the payroll, that took the tens of millions of dollars that Pfizer and Moderna and others put out. So now they're all busy defending the death and murder, defending the people being maimed, defending the heart attacks and blood clots and infertility because they've signed on with the devil. Instead of saying, whoa, I was wrong, I apologize, they're doubling down and more money's flooding to them. And this was a conscious process. They intended some of this to come out. They intended then to use it to see who will work with them to launch the next bigger attack. But more people woke up than they thought. More people went public and said they tried to buy them off. And so it's backfired now. And so the globalists are in a full panic mode. But what does Satan do? He doubles down. So the next big question is, what are they going to do next? I know I'm bringing go ahead.
No, keep going. This is the people want this, man. They wanted to hear from you. The less of me, more of Alex on this show right now. I had this thought while you were speaking, and it's not only are they intentionally wanting to depopulate and play God, right? God said, be fruitful and multiply. They do the complete opposite because they say, oh, we don't have enough resources, so we got to regulate the population, wink, wink. But at the same time, they're monetizing the death of humans, right? We saw this during the so-called pandemic where they monetized. There was, you were incentivized to have COVID deaths recorded in the hospital, put on ventilators. They made more money. And you think about what's happening with the mRNA, the jabs, it's kind of like the same as the trans depopulation agenda as well. Mutilate all their genitals. They become forever patients until the day that they die. So if you don't die from the mRNA, you essentially will become a forever patient because you're constantly going back to the hospital. The bills go way up and they make tons of more money.
And now if you wake up 20 years after they cut your testicles off or your breast off and complain, they say you're transphobic. Exactly. It's the emperor's new clothes. They make being sterilized cool and fun and like you're a rock star and have the media celebrate you, so you will willfully, when you're a child, be convinced by your parents or others to literally be sterilized. You're dead on. And then they make massive amounts of money off of it and brag about it.
Absolutely. And I totally see that with the vaccines as well, because if you are just jabbed up through the teeth, not only are you constantly making money for these people if you continue to pour into that, but then you become a forever patient because you're all jacked up for the rest of your life if you get lucky and don't die. I mean,
well, that's right. There's two different types of capitalism. I mean, there's crony capitalism and classical capitalism, but I'm inventing two new terms here. There's Satan's capitalism and there's God's capitalism, or there's God's free market and there's Satan's capitalism. Satan creates economies that are about hurting people, dumbing people down, poisoning them, including those that carry out the evil, but it just takes longer for it to hit them. And so it's an economy of destruction, of conquest. God creates a free market of free will and quality and choice and competition that creates the incredible largesse we have. The problem is then we become decadent if we lose sight of God, and then we become enslaved by Satan's different systems. Because Satan isn't just a crony capitalist. Satan isn't just a predatory capitalist. Satan is also a communist, a socialist. Satan can use any of those ideologies because they all become a command and control. They all become centralized. And so when we hear that we're capitalist society today or a free market society, we're not. We have a monopoly globalist group that is busy using lockdowns and controls and tax codes to mop up all the smaller businesses and companies and infrastructure. And in the words of Paul Ehrlich in 1970, he's their big population bomb guru, he said, we're going to demonize the family on television, and we're going to raise taxes so much the average working class people can't have kids or be able to raise them themselves. If they do, and the state will raise them. So we can see 40 years, 50 years later that they've carried their plan out. And now we know what the next part of their plan is: absolute forced depopulation. So we're here.
Let me ask you this, Alex. Okay. So predicting the future, hashtag Alex Jones was right, happening all the time. It seems like every other week now, because I mean, not only do you have like great intuition and you could predict things well based off of the facts and the evidence and what these people say for the past hundreds of years. What do you see on the horizon, Alex? Do you see the climate change? Do you see the climate lockdowns coming? What do you see? I mean, the World Economic Forum put this out, I think yesterday or this morning. Let me see if I can get this up real quick. They're already predicting, I mean, which is like no surprise to anyone, but take a look at this. They're already saying almost 2/3 of respondents say a global recession is likely in 2023. And then they pontificate and talk about how that's just how they just happen to know that that's going to happen. Alex, what do you see happening on the horizon with their next move, the New World Order, when they move next?
Well, the private central banks have already given themselves quadrillions in different world currencies like the dollar and the euro and the yen and the yuan and all the rest of it. So they got all the money up front. They use it to buy up infrastructure. They use it to buy up patents and companies and media and consolidate control. And so now they're raising interest rates to squeeze the little guy, even as the lockdowns killed the little guy's Main Street infrastructure. So we're seeing a vertical integration. They're also going to launch hack attacks that they claim the Russians or others have launched to further have the pretext to train us to have rolling blackouts, power outages, more and more disruptions. I've been predicting you'd start seeing hack attacks that would bring down FAA travel. They want to train you to live in a post-industrial world and that you don't get to get on an airplane when you want. You don't get to travel places when you want. That's why France has banned domestic flights inside their country. They say take a car, take a train, or walk. That's why I told people in the Obama deception that they would try to ban gas stoves because that was on the agenda then. Now you see Biden trying to do it. So basically anything and everything that you don't fight for, that we don't have a pro-human lobby for, and that we don't defend, they're going to take. Our children, our guns, our gas stoves, our cars, our farms. But most importantly, that's about getting us under their control to put us in compact cities, to bombard us with a matrix-like level of conditioning and not just visual stuff like Times Square, but 5G and all this electromagnetic testing they're doing that they have patents on, that it can influence the mood of the mind and the brain and the brain waves, to basically trick us, like you said on my show last week, into willfully giving over our soul to them, because they can't get enough people to turn fully against God and fully against themselves. They want total immersion with people on a social credit score, universal basic income, with programmable central bank digital currencies, where people under that societal environmental pressure give in to not just turning our bodies over to them so you can play a tennis match or whatever, take a poison shot, but actually turn your free will and your soul and then get on your knees and worship it. And then all of a sudden you can fly wherever you want. You can have a job. You can do whatever if they want you. But at a certain point, you're going to notice what you've got to comply with to be able to live in the beast system is going to get higher and higher and higher and higher. And what it wants you to do is going to be greater and greater and greater. So this is really a machine to get us to, by increments, turn our souls over.
And it's like CCP 500 years into the future. I mean, just picture what that would look like, right? That's exactly where these people want to go. I mean, the technology's already there. The CCP has already unveiled it. They use it. They impose it upon their people as social credit scores, especially during the zero COVID policy lockdowns, where they're literally, welding people in buildings, burning the buildings down because they determine that they are unclean. And then Klaus Schwab comes out and says, China is the model. That's the model we want for the entire world. I mean, Alex, how much... Let's go a little deeper into this, because I really want to zero in. You've always talked about how the New World Order and the globalists are not atheists. You got people, right? And especially in your experience, where there are people that may just be deceived. They're naive. They don't really understand that they are of their father, the devil, and they're going along with the agenda. They're being used as a pawn. But then you also have figures like the Nazis, right? You had Himmler, Adolf Hitler, all these psychotic Nazis that were openly practicing black magic, a part of the occult. They were tapping into demonic spirits to receive higher knowledge, to get technologically advanced. That's happened in history. That happened in the garden. It's happened during World War II, and it's definitely happening now. Alex, can you explain just how openly these people are aware of God because they interface with the devil?
Well, that's right. That's why whenever Kanye West, Ye, on my show was, oh, the Nazis were lied about, just because our media lies, and just because, the West did some bad stuff in World War II, or the Anglo-American establishment, doesn't then mean Hitler was good. And if you actually study the writings of Hitler and a bunch of his top Nazis, they were anti-Christian. Sure, the Catholic Church, because they were occupied in Europe, went along with it at certain levels. But when the liberals say the Nazis were Catholic, well, there were some Nazis that were Catholic and some Nazis that were, quote, Protestant or whatever. But at the end of the day, the top Nazis were all into the occult. The top Nazis did black magic rituals. Hitler openly talked about this. They did rituals at different SS castles. That's so well known that even in Raiders of the Lost Ark, you see the Nazis doing a ritual. And that's because they really did go to North Africa and the Middle East and try to dig all that stuff up. They really were obsessed with that, to the point of the Allies would plant stuff in occult publications around the world, knowing that Hitler had Nazis sending him occult publications from, Asia and Latin America and the US and Canada and Europe during World War II. And Allies would even forge older black magic manuscripts pre-World War II. They weren't pre-World War II. They would make them look like they were pre-World War II, so that Hitler would then believe all of this stuff. So Hitler was an occultist. When you look at the uniforms and the symbols that they had, they were all Druidic symbols. They were runes. And Hitler wanted to abolish Christianity if he had his way. So that's why people really don't know the true history of Hitler. And most of even the leftist media don't really get into the real history of it. Steven Spielberg kind of did in the pop culture way with Raiders of the Lost Ark, but that kind of stuff was really going on. Hitler was diverting sometimes up to 5-10% of his military, when they were even losing the war at a point, to run around digging up different artifacts. And he didn't care about Christian artifacts other than the spear of destiny that supposedly pierced Christ's side. He wanted that. He wanted occultic artifacts from around the world. He had a bunch of Tibetan monks that he'd shipped back from Tibet that were at SS castles, constantly chanting and trying to give him power. And I'm not even attacking the Tibetans, folks. He just paid them and brought them there, and it was what was going on. But if you look at they invented the jet. They invented most of the modern rocketry. They invented all these different aerodynamics and things. And they would do things like at the SS castles. This is on record, folks, where they would take an young SS officer they thought was the purest and the best, and they would cut his head off, and then they would basically hold the head up with one of their seers. And they believed that when they did that for a couple minutes, they were able to go across the void and get interdimensional information from basically gods or beings, aliens, demons. And so if you wonder how whacked out the Nazis were, that's how whacked out they were.
I mean, I think the biggest evidence for me is the Pergamon's throne seat of Satan. I mean, where they would have their rallies.
They dug that up in Babylon.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is in Berlin right now, and it's called the seat of Satan.
Yes, and where Adolf Hitler would give his infamous speeches and hold rallies with tens of thousands of people, that whole stadium, well, you can call it that, was modeled off of that, right, Alex?
Yes,
literally. That is it. See, this is what I want people to understand is when you look at these fascist dictators, these globalists, these New World Order proxies, a lot of these people, right, are not atheists. They are aware God exists because they're openly interfacing with evil and demons and Satan, getting knowledge, getting direction. I mean, really think about what Hitler did, right? He believed he was the chosen man to lead Germany and the Aryan race into the millennium, the next 1,000 year reign, right? And you take a look at what the devil does, all right? Pseudo antichrist in the place of Christ, mimics and counterfeits Christ. Christ has 1,000 year reign. After he returns his second coming, Christ has a 1,000 year reign. We will be with him and we will move into the future in eternity, forever in perfection. Hitler was getting intel from demons and mediums through black magic to convince him that he was Christ. This is this is what people understand. That's why I want to hear Ye say this stuff. Like, it doesn't make any sense, because these people were openly receiving information from Satan that was mimicking Christ himself. That is what Antichrist is.
Let's go further. When Richard Spencer saw the Ye interview, he came out in a short 2-minute clip and he said, Alex Jones is an old-fashioned libertarian. You know, he believes in equality, and, you know, he believes in America, and he believes in free speech, and he believes in all this other stuff. He's all rah-rah. You know, he's not bad. He's just not forward-looking like Ye, that senses the dark power and the incredible dark will of Hitler, and understands that we need this dark power. And you look at people that are into this, and they're telling you dark power.
There it is.
I mean, they're telling you that, oh, he gets the dark light and the dark power and the black sun and all this SS crap. And yeah, you look at them, they were wearing skulls on their hats, super evil, running around doing all this stuff. But they were set up by the greater globalist, who, again, not saying that America was bad or England was bad, but powerful forces that ran our countries set up Hitler, set up Lenin, set up Stalin to have this big confrontation, just like our government went in 49 and put Mao Zedong in when we would have had a capitalist free market country in China. Our government, it's declassified, it's even been on the History Channel, put Mao Zedong into power and help kick Chiang Kai-shek out. So it's the same thing. It's not that we run the communist Chinese. It's not we. The globalists run us. They run China. They run the EU. They don't fully run Russia, but Russia's its own predatory state. And they're all playing these groups of golf against each other, against God and against humans.
I know. And people, what blows my mind is how people come out and they deny any of this is taking place. When they say this out in the open, you have Balenciaga coming out like promoting Baal out in the open, which is obvious ancient worship of the devil himself, sacrificing babies by blood rituals. I mean, this stuff is still current today, Alex.
And it's because they know they have to prove to the devil they're willing to do bad things. That's why they put out a poison shot. That's why they didn't put out a shot that actually helped people. That's why they put one out that hurt people, because, again, as I said earlier, it's so key. Because now the doctors and the nurses and the scientists and the hospital managers and the media people and the academics or the average people on the street, I know people personally who took the shot and have myocarditis, young people, and they won't still admit the shot did it to them, even though the emergency room told them, because they can't believe they made a bad mistake. They can't believe someone wants to hurt them. So they put themselves into a form of Stockholm syndrome and say it can't be true. And so they want you to buy the deception. That's how abortion works. And people ask, Alex, why do you talk about the fact that you paid for 6, 7, 8 probably abortions when I was a teenager? Because I was promiscuous, and I'm not proud of that. I'm, you know, all the rest of it, I'd have to go get money and bumming off my parents. And my parents finally figured it out by the time I was about 18, maybe 19. And my dad said, will you please quit killing my grandchildren? He said, those are human beings. I said, well, it's in the first couple of months. It's not really yet. No, it is. And you need to stop doing it. And that really convicted my heart. And I had nightmares about it over the next few years. And then I repented and, you know, went out and protested a lot of abortion clinics, the rest of it. But the reason I tell that story is not so I sound high and mighty. The left goes, look, he admits he killed kids, but now he's against it. No, I'm saying that to say, even people that have done bad, evil things, if you didn't mean it consciously or you repent of it, God will heal your soul. God will heal you and cleanse you of that, and then actually give you a direction so that you can fight back against it and convict your heart even further. And that's why I tell women that, and people that have been part of abortions, instead, they have the abortion, they know what's wrong in their heart, they harden their heart, and then they become people that love it. Yeah, I know they're kids. Notice the leftist women all say now, we know it's a kid, screw that little bastard. We're going to kill him. So they harden their heart. And when they harden their heart now, The sunset's not beautiful anymore. Their husband's not handsome anymore. Their kids don't have any value anymore. They don't have value. They get cut off from God by increment, and that's why the devil tries to trick us into doing bad things that separates us from God. And as we get further and further away, when the Holy Spirit comes to convict our heart to pull us back, if we refuse that, then we hit a point where we're given over to great delusion that the Bible talks about, and these people are gone. And then there's an even later stage where they're not just cut off from God and have no connection or discernment or the real operating system, because the evil folks have their connections and their secret intel they're given. We get something way, way more powerful, but only as we become cleaner and stronger and better, just as a process of being able to get closer to God. And as we get closer to God, that discernment goes way up, and then we're able to understand the enemy's operations. But on the other side, as I just said, the devil wants to trick you to move away from God. So when he finally gets you, you go into a great delusion. And then if he can really trick you, you then become fully possessed and an engine of Satan who's committed the ultimate sin, fully rejected the Holy Spirit. At that point, you know God's real, you're demon possessed or you're demon influenced, and you say, I know you're real, God, I'm at war with you forever, and I love what I'm doing. Like on those abortion doctors, there's hundreds of these videos, walk out and go, I kill babies, I love it, I love Satan too, and like, you go to the Texas Capitol where they're having a pro-life deal, and just these women show up in dress suits and all nice who are just randomly at the Capitol, and they all encircle the other women and start going, I love Satan, Satan, Satan. And it's very, very real, because at that point they say, we want the babies, we want to kill them, and that spirit jumps right into them, and they are frying. Their souls are frying right in front of you, where some of these people, folks, are too far gone. Christ on the cross, sat there and showed even a murderer, even a thief, can be redeemed if they want it at that moment. They still got to want it and still got to have an ability to reach out. But it's the refusal when you're being offered that while Christ is hanging on the cross that then cuts you off. And I know I'm ranting, but this is real, folks.
Yes, 100%. I mean, and I always challenge people. I'm like, man, you don't believe God exists. You don't believe there's a spiritual component here, like Tucker Carlson always says. You got to just go out for yourself, like literally go hang out with these people at one of their protests or whatever they're doing. And you see these people, Alex, this, they smell, they look unhealthy, they look yellow, their eyes are black, they foam at the mouth. It's like when I was in DC in front of the Supreme Court during the Roe overturn on your show live, when I'm sitting there at this guy's screaming, just like with this bizarre behavior, moving weird, following me anytime I'm talking about, babies being, killed, would just follow me around the entire Supreme Court, get in my face, disgusting breath, eyes black, voice changes. And I'm like, you love killing babies, sir? I love effing killing babies. I love it. You remember that, Alex? These people are real.
Oh, listen. Well, folks, you've got to see this for yourself. And especially the Bible talks about certain cities and certain areas that are fully turned over to evil. I went to Seattle about 5 years ago on a business trip, and I'm covering stuff, and people run up and throw coffee on me and they attack me. But it was literally like I'd be walking down one street and a totally normal looking woman would talk to me like a demon. Better get out of here, Alex. We know you're here. And I'd go around another corner and a man would talk to me like a demon. Yeah, we saw you. It was like the Matrix, or like in the Bible where it's jumping out of the man into the pigs back, and off the cliff. It was like the demons were jumping from person to person, and it was like I was in the Matrix where because they tell you there, Agent Smith can jump from person to person, and I was actually witnessing it. And absolutely right, folks. When you go to a Planned Parenthood protest, Antifa and others show up, and when they get out of the cars, there's usually not a lot of black people for whatever reason that are on their side. There are some, but there are white people and Hispanic people. I got to be honest, I've never seen Asians out there, but it's mainly white people. And they literally walk over, and they've got black circles around their eyes. My dad says they have like translucent skin. It's yellow, almost green. You can like see through it. Yep. And they're not like human. And they get out of Jaguars. They got a Mercedes. A lot of them have money. And they just walk up and go, and they're not trying to scare you. They're like zombies. They're attracted to the killing of the babies. And these are the NPCs of Satan that are just literally going, don't try to stop killing baby. And like they'll be Antifa guys walking around with a big cache of money going, if you attack him, I'll give you $500. Yep. $500. The guy's driving back and down the street with the money. Attack him, $500. And they walk over and go, I love killing babies. I've killed dozens, and I'm going to kill more. I love Satan. I stink. And the women are like, I got hair on their arms, I'm stink, I'm fat, and I'm gross, and I want to hurt myself, everybody else. I love Satan. And
As if anyone's gonna impregnate them. Just saying.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is that folks, these people are not just playing a part. They're not just imagining this like it's school theater and doing it. People would win Oscars if they could act this demonic. They look more demonic than anything you've ever seen in a movie because it's real, folks. Yes. And go to any Democrat rally. You have hopeless vassals that are deceived and don't know what's going on. Then you have people that are the politicos that want money and power. But then there's a large contingent that I call zombie demons. And folks, go to their events, go to a Democrat event, go to a Beto O'Rourke event, go to one of these folks, and you don't want to be these people. It's like their souls have been sucked out. And we're not putting them down. I'm not up here calling them soul sucked to feel more powerful myself. I'm a little overweight, work too much, whatever. I'm burnt out, whatever. I'm not up here on a high horse. I'm just saying these people don't have the spark of life in them. Then go to a pro-life rally around Christians. Their eyes are on fire. They're awake. They look good. They're dialed in. They know what's happening. They make eye connection. They care. You feel the love. You feel the Holy Spirit. So it's just that simple, folks. Whatever people want to call it, you don't want to believe in God, don't want to believe in energy, don't want to believe in any of it, fine. Go actually sample the energy from a real pro-life event versus one of these devil worshiper events. And I don't know how anybody would want to be around the energy of these people. The energy is lost and horrible like a black hole because it is a black hole into another dimension.
Yep. Anytime you show up, right? Especially you, Owen, or myself, or anyone, that is like, seen as a villain, right? To these people, you show up.
Like they'll be kind of like going, kind of like
yes,
like deactivated. They're just kind of in neutral. The demon's like off somewhere else. Or kind of just like, sure, they'll be just like, and they see they go, Alex Jones. I don't know what you're doing. We're like, what the hell happened to these people?
No, seriously, it's like okay. This is what people want to understand: is it's literally a switch. You know what I'm talking about, Alex? It's a switch. Like they could be standing there laugh. And I noticed this during the riots in 2020, big time. They're standing there. They're all hospitable. Hey, especially when I'd be undercover, I noticed it big time. They'd be like, hey, what's up, brother? You want a granola bar? Oh, are you doing okay? Are you safe? Do you have friends to walk home with? Like the most nice, hospitable, kind, like psychos, like Jekyll and Hyde, Alex. And then when the cops come or some kind of opposing figure shows up or they're aware that I'm there, 0 to 1,000, boom, the demons come in. It's like a different person. It's wild. It's 100% wild, the spiritual component. But I also wanted to get into this with you too, Alex, is in your experience dealing with these people, and I know I've asked you this before, but I want you to explain it to the Rumble audience particularly is, and we've heard you on the show. Anyone that watches me watches the Alex Jones show. And we hear you talk about a lot how you never really kind of anticipated when you started your show and really kind of opposing the New World Order and opposing this entity that on one side, people would wake up. But you also talk about on the other side, it kind of wakes people up to the reality like, hey, I could actually be a part of this cabal and gain some power. Can you talk about that, your experience where you've kind of seen people like wake up like, that's not such a bad thing, what Alex is talking about. I kind of want to join the dark side.
Absolutely. We always have blind sides. We always have.
And that's not your fault. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying,
No.
It's an interesting thing how that happened,
Absolutely. No, I'm trying to think of the right word.
Yeah.
We always have blind spots. And I always imagined, sorry, hey guys, will you give me a water, please? Sorry,
You're good.
Got really bad sear allergies that hit this time of year, and so I didn't take an allergy pill this morning, or I didn't take my pollen block and my.
I get it. I got to take it every day too.
Attack, here live on our noise in the control room, but can I have water, guys, please? Thank you. So, long story short, this is a very important question that you raise. I always thought, okay, I'm looking at these globalist documents from 50, 60 years ago. This is like 25 years ago. And everything they said they do 25 years ago, they basically gotten done. So now I'm looking at what they said they're going to do in the next 25 years. We better stop that. And when I warn everybody, a lot of people aren't going to listen, but a lot of people will. Thank you. And then once the agenda unfolds and takes place, there'll be a lot of credibility in that, and we'll defeat these people easily once folks know how diabolical a total world government, cashless society, tracking, controlling everything you do, global one-child policies, basically forced pedophilia. I said, once people figure this out, 99% of folks are going to oppose it. But instead, I discovered that a large minority are already somewhat awake. They already know kind of what I know. I just add some info. They add some info. We organize. We get together. We say no. We have opposition. And then there's another large minority, or maybe even the majority, that hears it and thinks it's scary. So they build up a defense mechanism of being in denial and saying, that's really not true. That couldn't be true. And they just put their head deeper in the sand. But then there is a small minority of people who go, oh, that is how the world works. It never made sense before. And now it's not just some new hierarchy I can get into. It's the real hierarchy. I'm going to go join it. I'm going to go work with it, and I'm going to be part of it. And so I unwittingly actually waking people up to how the compartmentalization works and getting into some of the higher knowledge about how the real systems work in the economy and other areas have helped decompartmentalize people who were already corrupt and evil, but they're then using my show as a blueprint to even be able to go into the New World Order system and not just join them and sometimes compete with them. Because that's so much of how Satan's system works is China wants a world ID, world AI control. The West wants a world ID, global control. So they're all competing to have their control system in place, but really it's Satan's control system all merging together. And so that's basically a way to look at it, is the different types of people that are out there. There are also people that know it's real and hide, because so there's people that know it's real and hide. There's people that know it's real and fight back. There are people that subconsciously are scared of it, so go under mass Stockholm syndrome and just deny what's happening, but serve evil because they're such followers. Then there's people that are actual original, globalist, out of their multi-thousand-year satanic program. And then you've got people that basically are just mercenaries and decide, well, if you can't beat them, join them. And so that was the group I didn't think would actually exist. But once you pull back and think about it, how naive do you have to be to not think that's going to go on? Obviously, if there are some people that are going to want to try to join the dark side. But what folks need to know about the dark side is it destroys its own minions.
Yes.
In fact, statistically, if you just pull back and look at it, people that serve evil end up not doing very well. And especially in the bottom of a corruption cycle when things are collapsing. Yeah, the last 30, 40 years, if you served institutional evil, you might have gotten ahead a little bit, but still you reap what you sow and bad stuff comes back on you. But now you notice there are a lot of people jumping off the evil ship the other way because they're actually decompartmentalized and see it is evil, and they also realize the ship's going down. So this is going to be quite a mess we're about to live through.
Alex, when we talk about the future, we have a Republican controlled House, and a lot of claims of investigations are going to take place with some House members and congressional elected leaders. And when it comes to this stuff, when it comes to the crimes against humanity, and I've talked about this on your show, in my opinion, the two greatest threats, CCP, World Economic Forum at the top, these people should be actively not only talking about it, but legislatively working against it, like Governor Ron DeSantis is, which I think is great. And I want to see more of that. What do you want to see moving forward? 2023, Davos is happening now in Switzerland, which everyone said is it's a conspiracy theory. There's no shadowy figures or world government leaders meeting in some kind of secret place pontificating how the world's going to go. Okay, it's out in the open. You could literally watch the live streams. What should we expect coming up on the horizon with these people, and what do you want to see be done? Nuremberg 2.0, trials done. What needs to happen with these people that have dismantled the United States economy, social system, the law and order, our law enforcement systems, the justice? We don't have a justice system anymore. What needs to take place?
If the public gets excited about new independent media like Rumble, it's doing a great job, and what you're doing, Drew, and so many other great people, and if everybody really promotes at the grassroots, I mean, print out business cards with your podcast on it. People have done that with my show. One of the reasons it grew and got really big. If people will say, hey, Alex Jones is still on air, at Infowars.com/show. If folks would support us, because we're barely hanging on and barely staying on air, even though we've become more influential and more respected than ever because what we've talked about has come true. We need people's support. Folks need to know this is a war. This isn't just a show you tune into like it's Netflix. I don't know if your audience knows that, or some entertainment. We really know what we're talking about. And so I'd like to see folks support independent media in the year 2023 even more, because that's the surefire way of continuing to warn people and wake people up. I want to see more data dumps, more leaks like we're seeing from Elon Musk. The system is definitely on the run. I want to see people try to understand this is a spiritual battle, get closer to God. I like to see people, even if it's a small garden, or even if it's going camping more, or going and visiting your cousins that live on a farm, just start getting our minds into the idea of self-sufficiency and trying to be somewhat self-sufficient, because that's how the globalists plan to fully control us, is by not having us be self-sufficient. When we had the last Great Depression, 90% of people were rural. Almost all of them were self-sufficient. About 10% were urban. And so back then, 90% were somewhat self-sufficient. Today, maybe 5-10% are somewhat self-sufficient. So if we have a collapse, it's really going to be nightmarish. And so people need to get ready. People need to expose the global government that's no longer a shadow. The Davos Group, the UN, they brag that they run the media. They brag that they run big tech and the censorship. Support good governors, support good legislatures, support good members of the Republican House that are really going after big pharma and the whole agenda, and realize that as hard as this fight is, and even though it seems overwhelming, if we weren't doing what we were doing, it would be far worse right now. Plus, this is all a war game. Yes, it's real. Yes, we have bodies. Yes, our grandparents and their parents were real. It's not a simulation, but it's a giant created system to test our spirits in these bodies, to see who we really are and what we're going to really do with all the power of free will and being made in the image of God. And so realize this is the big test. You don't want to pass the New World Order's test. You don't want to pass their social credit test. You don't want to pass the Hollywood test. You don't want to pass the liberal litmus test. You want to be hated by these people, not because you're perfect, but because you're rejecting their whole agenda, which, even if you don't believe in Satan, well, Ray Kurzweil, the main Google futurist, says he doesn't believe in God yet, that he's going to become a God. So does Noah Yuval Harari. So does Klaus Schwab. Well, understand, folks, they don't believe in the devil. They want to be the devil. They don't believe in the devil yet. So they're not wanting to become God. They're wanting to become the devil. And if you look at every aspect of the devil, not just in Judaism or Christianity, which is the real analysis of it, right down to who they are, the operation, all of it, but even in the Hindus and all the other cultures, the Buddhists, you name it, the ancient African tribes, all of them describe these devilish entities that want to kill, steal, and destroy, and get humans to go with their free will, and get humans to engage in human sacrifice and do all of this. So this has been with us forever. It's something we've got to beat, and it's coming after our free will. And so I would just say, get close to God in 2023, and then get out there, spread the word, support the truth, because this is a war. And I'd also ask listeners, because listen, Drew, we reach over 6-7 million people a day, and I have a great crew, and you've been here, and we've helped launch and support so many other great talk show hosts and other great minds. But we literally right now have a $230-something thousand a month underage, which sounds like a lot for an independent group, but the people we reach, the bandwidth we have, the things that are going on, that is not that big a nut to crack. If just a few more people go to InfoWarsStore.com and actually get some of the supplements, or get a copy of my book, The Great Reset and the War for the World, I've put all my personal money, my nest egg, because I knew this time was coming years ago, into this operation. I'm now in personal bankruptcy, which I don't feel bad about, because it shows I don't have all this money they say. It's all lies. It shows I'm all in. At this time, if they come to kill me, I'm not going to give up and back down. So I'm all in. Money is nothing to me. But giving up through not asking listeners for support, giving up by not fighting as hard as I could to use the provisions God has given me, would be the same thing as giving up. So I ask your listeners and viewers, please don't let InfoWars go off the air. If you want to come support us at InfoWarsStore.com, that would really be great, because we're doing a fundraiser tomorrow. You're going to be part of it, and that's going to be from 8 in the morning right through midnight with a lot of huge guests. So I'm just asking everybody to come to InfoWars.com.
There you go, guys. I will be on with Alex tomorrow, and I think we have him planned out for some other shows on Frontlines as well. I have one more question for you, Alex, and I wanted to get your direct answer to this because my viewers, this is something that we've been kind of like speculating between you and Elon Musk. I know there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but I personally, I think what Elon does is great, really exposing big tech and Twitter, dropping all the files. But I still can't get on with him when it comes to Neuralink and where that could potentially go and where he wants to take that. I'm not quite too sure. This is my speculation, okay? And why won't Elon Musk bring Alex Jones back on Twitter? Okay, you may be able to answer that behind the scenes inside baseball, but this is my speculation. If there's anyone on Twitter that would oppose Neuralink and the potential transhuman agenda that could literally impose on humanity, anyone that could expose that and aggressively oppose it on Twitter, I suspect it would be a man by the name of Alex Jones. So I've been speculating this the past couple months. I don't know if that's why he doesn't want to bring you on the platform. I don't know if you have any specific reasons as to why. It kind of pisses me off because I think like, yeah, it's cool you brought President Trump back and all these other people, but the real power move is bringing back Alex Jones and everyone that's been banned off of InfoWars because you guys were literally the prototype that the New World Order and the deep state used to roll out the censorship to see how the public would react to it. That's my take. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree with your take, but I don't know how much time do you have, because this might take me 5 minutes.
As long as you want to go.
All right. I do know a lot of inside baseball about Elon Musk for different reasons, and I'm going to leave it at that. And I'll tell you this. I look at things as a scale. You judge a tree by its fruits. So he's exposing the censorship. You know, he came out and said, I'm not taking the vaccine. I don't trust the vaccine. And later he said, well, you should take the vaccine. He said, no, you shouldn't take the vaccine. So that's kind of null. He came out and said, beware big tech owners that worship AI gods. He's come out and said there's not an overpopulation program. In fact, if we don't have 2.1 children for every 2 adults, we'll have a collapse, which all the actuaries and numbers show. And he's done dozens and dozens and dozens of other good things. And then you look over here, he's at Halloween wearing the Devil's Champion outfit, which was obviously a message on a lot of fronts, but it definitely means something. So we have to look at that. He's over there with Neuralink, saying everybody's going to have a brain chip if they want it. He's over there, basically with the electric cars that Teslas are neat, they're fun, but they have more carbon in them for the first 60,000 miles than a regular car. They're way more toxic. There's not enough of the metals on the planet to ever build everybody one of these cars. We know it's a boondoggle. And even Toyota, the top car maker in the world when it comes to real quality, has come out and just said, these electric cars are not really working. We have engines that are 100 miles an hour a gallon, and we have other things coming out, but this just isn't real. And they explain all that. And again, most of the energy comes from carbon anyways that the power plants have, and you lose most of the energy transferring it down the power line. So it would take hours to go over this, but I've sat there and tried to weigh both sides of Elon Musk. And right now, with the positive things he's done and the fact that he's exposing the deep state and the fact that he's exposing Fauci and the poison shots, he is in the positive realm right now. That outweighs the negative. And on the Neuralink, if you've been in a car wreck and have a broken neck and a brain chip can heal you, great. If you're blind and a brain chip can give you sight, that's great. All this is a double-edged sword. And he's talked about that and done that. And my uncle was in a really bad motorcycle accident and had really bad epilepsy from it. It was going to kill him. And he got first the Vedic nerve deal, which went into the brain and would make him stop. Now he got a more advanced brain chip. And literally when he starts to have a seizure, he'll be like, and Alex, we had a really fun time. It sounds like a robot for about 10 seconds. It's crazy. He chose to have that done. I'm all for it. He didn't have to sign over his kids or worship the devil or put a chip in his hand or take a shot to be able to get that more advanced chip. So they have these. They've been testing brain chips on the troops for 30 years. They've been testing for 50 years on the mentally ill. I don't want it as a forced thing or a thing that's pushed or a thing that's needed to interface with your phone, though you know where that's going. And I really believe Elon Musk sees himself as taking us interplanetary, and he wants to be a man of all cards, of all the tarot cards. If you ask, which tarot card are you, Elon Musk, or what card are you in the card deck, he would say, I'm all the cards. So he wants to have a place at every level in full spectrum dominance, and he clearly represents a big arm of U.S. intelligence, kind of like Howard Hughes did, and a more pro-America arm of it that's still working with China and others, and still wants global AI, and still wants all this, but wants it to be a little bit more libertarian, in that a global libertarian AI, like the internet used to be, that's open and free, like moths to flame, everyone's going to come to that one and get on that one instead of the Chinese Huawei purely authoritarian system. So he wants to be the best house in a bad neighborhood, and he wants to be the leader of the opposition, because the best way to control the opposition is to lead the opposition and to have everybody over there on his new platform, which he calls Internet X, that'll be everything you need in one place, just like the Chinese have that app. But then I think once you get onto the app, and once it dominates and pushes everybody else out, then just like they've already done in the last 25-year cycle with Google, Google went from don't be evil, be open and free, to being the leaders in authoritarian control. And so now it's just time for a new cycle, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. And so I don't trust Elon Musk. And I don't say that because he didn't put me back on Twitter. I know what he did. I know why he did it. They ran over 100,000 news articles against me, more than 10,000 TV programs conservatively against me. I mean, because they put it on every local news station in the country basically every couple of days, that I harass families, that I'm Sandy Hook, that I killed Adam, that Adam Lanza didn't kill the kids, I killed the kids, is basically the idea you get. To demonize populism, free speech. He knows he's up against that giant psyop that literally was run by U.S. intelligence agencies, we now know, and major think tanks and PR firms. So I'm the sacrificial lamb. He can bring back everybody else and let everybody else have quasi-freedom for now. But Alex Jones is still banned, so that satiates the crowd out there and says, oh, he won't go that far because I'm the worst guy in the world. And so I don't know his total motives in that, but I can see his moves, understand what he's doing. And so I like it when he makes good moves. I don't like it when he makes bad moves, but I'm not naive at any level to trust Elon Musk or to think that Elon Musk is a good guy, because it's not just the Devil's Champion outfit. Because I've dressed up like Cobra Commander. I've dressed up like the devil, in here being pro-abortion, wearing the iron mask and the dagger saying, good, kill the children. That's kind of my idea of the devil. And some people saw that and went, look, Jones isn't Christian, or I dressed up like the Joker once. No, I'm doing satire, showing what evil looks like and acts like. With Musk, though, it's not just that his mother, and I think it was his sister, went out with him on Halloween like that. His mother and them dressed like that a lot of the time. And I looked at the art on the walls in their house, and I looked at some of the things around it, and I can tell you that look is the highest level what the Illuminati really bad wicked ones look like. And the look in his mother's eyes, and just all of it was like, whoa, that's putting off a Luciferian vibe. Just like, when Antifa stinks, a little goblin comes over, you can kind of tell a former U.S. military person versus a special operations person that actually was an operator, just kind of the bearing or whatever. You can tell that guy's probably a cop, that guy's probably a fireman. You can be at the gas pump at midnight, and you don't care if they're white, black, or Hispanic. If they're a criminal, they have a criminal kind of sneakiness to them. Everybody has a flavor, or you kind of instantly know what's up with them. Who's a thug, who isn't? And the mom just flame throws Lucifer. It's just like, whoa, high level Illuminati, devil, danger, Will Robinson. Because I've been around some of these people, I've been invited to some of their things. I'll leave it at that. I just kind of got on the outskirts of the some of the highest levels of it when they were trying to recruit me into it here and there. You don't know they're trying to recruit, you're just suddenly in it. And, castles in the countryside, private jet landing pads, helicopter landing pads, women wearing black like that whole look, the look in their eyes, the whole 9 yards is kind of David Bowie, the Hunger-esque. And so that's kind of how they see themselves. And so my gut tells me Elon Musk is a true Luciferian. And that's because a true Luciferian believes Lucifer's really God. And if you get into the deep esoteric, Jesus is the morning star, but Lucifer's also called the morning star. And if you get into other esoteric stuff, you know, Lucifer is Jesus's brother. It's in a lot of these systems out there. And so he believes that he's holding both things in his hands. And that it's like Star Wars tells you. Darth Vader is supposed to bring balance to the Force. And they say to Yoda, right after things are going bad, in like episode 3, and it's all cheesy, but it's an allegory of the Illuminati. They say, well, he's supposed to, the vision or the prophecy says he's supposed to bring balance to the Force. And Yoda says that prophecy may have been misunderstood. No, he's coming to destroy both. And so that's what they see themselves as, man transcending into God, the 2001 Space Odyssey program, where the bunch of the humans have to die on the way to become God, and man has to make it past the AI before he gets to make it to God. And so they're telling you got to beat AI and you got to kill all the other humans. And only once you've done this and been God and transcended will you become the Star Child. And so he believes he's becoming the Star Child with the spaceships and the heavy rockets and the brain chips and the electric cars and the boring companies and the innovation and the free speech, and he's bringing it back. But then meanwhile, take one look at Mama, and it looks like the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. So there's your Elon Musk analysis, and I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate it, Alex. It's just, yeah, free speech for everyone else except for Alex Jones, the prototypes that were used for the digital censorship into the future. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it at all, Alex. I think you pose a huge threat to him and the New World Order, and in many ways. And if he amplifies your voice on Twitter, I don't know. I don't like it. I will believe him a little more once you guys are all back on Twitter speaking, doing what you guys do best. And then I'll warm up maybe a little more to Elon, because
I don't want to talk about Sandy. I appreciate you giving me all this time today. I don't want to talk about Sandy Hook, but now we know exactly what happened in hindsight, because after the second show trial, where the judge found me guilty and told the jury I was guilty and wouldn't let us put on evidence and wouldn't let my lawyers talk. That's why it looked like my lawyers were total idiots, because they couldn't basically talk. They were given very narrow things, couldn't say I was innocent, couldn't put on evidence to counter them. They were there to decide how guilty I was. A big PR firm that does the UN's PR, literally, came out and put out a press release and said, yeah, we ran this whole thing. So again, I barely talk about Sandy Hook, think it happened at first. The internet questions it. I said, sure, could have been staged. Did like 5-6 shows on it over the years. Don't talk about it in 2015, 2016. Hillary runs against Trump the last couple months on Alex Jones and Sandy Hook.
That's not why you were even banned, Alec. You weren't banned for any of that.
Well, that's right.
That has
never banned for Sandy Hook.
You want Alex. So Elon Musk is man enough to expose the CIA, the NSA, and the deep state and their collusion with rigging elections and imposing so-called information about COVID. He's man enough to go after these figures, but he's afraid of the media responding to letting the evil Alex Jones back onto Twitter. It just doesn't add up to me, brother. I mean,
well, exactly.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying.
I totally agree. I'm just giving people for the record. Now we know in hindsight exactly what happened. So you're right. In 2017 and 18, I get banned off the internet. They don't mention one thing about Sandy Hook. That's not the reason they did it. They gave a bunch of other fake reasons. So then this PR firm in 2017 starts getting articles everywhere that I'm sending people to their homes. I'm saying their kids didn't die. And I'm like, whoa. I said years ago your kids died. I never sent people to your home. Oh, he won't stop attacking us. He won't stop talking about us. He won't stop making money off of us. And I'm like, whoa, you're the ones running thousands of news articles and hundreds of TV programs at the time. Now it's way more than that. And just on every channel. And then they sue me and control the whole narrative that it's Alex Jones versus families and Alex Jones versus dead kids. A very sophisticated psyop, again, to bring down who they saw as the #1 populist threat. Not because of who I am, but because of what I represent and the archetype of it, to slap that down exactly. So he won't bring me back because he realizes either that it's too much because of the demonization level and because the deep state's so scared, or because he's actually in league with them. But either way, I'm not going to rush out and attack Elon Musk. I'm not going to rush out and say, I think I'm not judging him. I'm saying what he looks like to me and what I think's going on. And I spent 10, 12 minutes laying out some pieces people can make their decision. I hope he turns to God. I hope he turns to Christ. You look at the girlfriends he's got into the occult, into Luciferianism. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. But look, only God judges. And so I think the jury's out on Elon Musk, and that's where I stand. But I appreciate your defense.
We will see. We will see. The A word is huge with me on everybody. And you know me, Alex, accountability for everybody. I watch their actions, and we'll see what he does in the next few years, especially when the CIA and the FBI and they all respond. Then we'll see how he responds as well, if he's really about free speech. Alex,
he said he was going to put out all. Sorry, go ahead.
No, what were we going to say? Go for it. It's your show right now.
No, I appreciate you having me on. What was I going to say? It's kind of early in the morning, so I'm a little bit. And, the allergies in Austin are just so intense with the cedar. So right now my brain is just fried. Sorry. But I'm going to take a Zyrtec, though, and then I'll be all right. That's a prescription drug that I got to tell you really works.
You said he was going to put something out. Was he going to put out the Fauci files that we haven't got yet? Or what were you going to say?
Exactly. He was going to put out the Fauci files we haven't got yet. So I think also he's blackmailing the deep state, which is what they all do to each other. See, they all serve the devil, and they all agree to prey on us, but they also use dirt on each other, which shows what a high-level operator he is. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Alex, thank you for joining me, brother. I know the audience loves you. Thank you for taking the time, especially with your allergies, man. Make sure to go take care of that so we can hear you for the next 4 hours when you go live in a few minutes. What are the coordinates to anyone that is kind of like on the fence? I don't know. I think I like what Alex said tonight. Maybe I should tune in to listen to the other guys too. What are the coordinates, Alex, where people could watch you guys and follow you?
Infowars.com/show, band.video. There's not just my material, but there's hundreds of other people that have been censored at band.video. It's hard to share the links on Twitter and Facebook. They block them. So starting tomorrow, every week or so, we're going to put up a new website that's not a redirect, but an actual clean website so people can link to it without being censored. That will have just the show up on it so you can share that. And the link starting later today throughout the week is going to be conspiracyfact.info, conspiracyfact.info. So people out there, please share that. And God bless you, because we all get synergistically together and we really promote something. We can do something big. And that's why after I do this big promotion tomorrow, getting a whole bunch of great hosts to come on, promote the show, get millions of extra folks to tune in, hear what they have to say. I'm going to start taking folks like yourself and others, maybe doing 2-3 hour specials every week, where we also reach out to a bunch of people and ask folks to promote that to really punch through every time, and not just have a viral Drew Hernandez that gets 20 million views, in 1 month, and then he gets 1 million views the next week, and then 5 million the next week, and then 8 million this week, and then 14 million that week. We want to be able to punch through every day and really ram it down their throat and really reach wider and wider audiences, because this is an info war. Thank you so much, Drew.
There you have it. Alex, thank you for joining me, brother. We love you.
Love you too.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The man himself, Alex Jones, ladies and gentlemen. I promised you guys we would have this for you. Promised you guys that we would bring him on the show, and you got just about an hour and 15 with Alex Jones. Super excited, man, to have him here on the show. I mean, see, this is... it's having the Godfather on. It's having your mentor on, someone that you watch, someone that you study from. So it's just an honor to have him here on my show. We've had him on Frontlines as well. That's on Real America's Voice, which, by the way, he's going to be on again, I think tomorrow. He'll be on Frontlines. It's Davos 2023. They're in Switzerland. The shadow government that people claim doesn't exist is all meeting together. So everyone needs to make sure that they all go watch their live streams, not so you could support them, but so that they can be exposed, so people could understand just exactly what their plans are. I just want everyone to go and support Alex Jones, InfoWars, and everything that they're doing, because we absolutely have to support free speech and anyone that is exposing these shadow government figures. I mean, in my opinion, it's why Elon Musk doesn't want him on the platform. I think it's abundantly clear, because if there's anyone that's going to expose possibly the agenda that Elon might have, it would be Alex Jones himself. I think that that's abundantly clear. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please share this. If you're just joining us, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and share the links absolutely everywhere. And before we go, guys, I wanted to make sure that we get this up. Just a word from our sponsors, because this is a huge show tonight. So let's make sure that we give a shout out to our sponsors. And I mean, we're talking about the New World Order. These people want to take us into a VR, AR, digital world where all currency is digital. They want a mark of the beast system. I'm telling you, you guys need some kind of valuable physical currency. They want to get rid of the dollar. God has given us gold for a very specific reason, for its value. And I mean, especially if you have an IRA, 401k, a savings account, it's getting crazy, man. Klaus Schwab is there. Bill Gates is there. They want to take everything digital. The Biden administration has already printed more money in the past 2 years than the previous 100 years combined, you guys. Okay. And Alex and I just covered that you are witnessing. The World Economic Forum is saying we're predicting a global recession in 2023. So you guys got to prepare. The national debt hit a record $30 trillion recently. And inflation is the highest we've seen since 1982. And it's all by design, by the way. It's only a matter of time before the house of cards comes crashing down. If you have retirement savings, your money could be at serious risk. Talk to my friends at GOLDCO.com to see how you can protect your retirement with gold and silver before it's too late. Excuse me, that's GOLDCO, Gold Company. Go to DrewLikesGold.com. That's DrewLikesGold.com. Get a physical currency. You never know, just in case, especially when you got the New World Order running around pontificating how the world is going to go. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so honored to have had Alex Jones on the show tonight. I'm thankful to have every single one of you guys watching. I'm thankful to Rumble because YouTube would never allow an interview like that to gain any traction, but Rumble does, and I'm very, very thankful for that. So shout out to Rumble, guys. If you're tuning in, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button. Hit the bell notification, download the Rumble app as well, copy the links, blast them everywhere. That is how we defeat the New World Order. I'm telling you guys right now, that's exactly how we do it. Alrighty, guys, my name is Drew Hernandez, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys have an amazing day, amazing night. I will see you Thursday. We'll be streaming again, and I only bring in heavy hitter guests, man. First guest here on Drew Hernandez Live on Rumble, Alex Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Drew Hernandez, and until next time, guys.